All right, Shalom. For the program, give our praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Rakakwadash, Drum honor to the Apostle and Elder Great Millstone, to all across the globe, pushing the word to the city, won't say Shalom. I'm just going to get into John the 14th chapter, just the first verse. Um, this is going into the mindset of the disciples, right, during the time Yahushua preparing them for departure. And it's heavy because we're going to get into it. And Lord willing, the lesson is edifying. It's on John 14:1. So let not your heart be troubled. You believe in the Most High, believe also in me. And we got to understand that, he was preparing the disciples for his crucifixion, man. All right, this is the time of the Roman occupation. All right, he got to discussing and telling Peter that he's gonna deny him, telling Judas that I let him know that Judas was going to betray him, and then being followers of Yahushua during this time, that they had tried to cast out demons and couldn't. He was saying parables that they couldn't understood, so they knew they needed them, and the Lord knows our thoughts. He knows our actions. He knows how we feel about things, and them the disciples being very close to him. All right, he understood that they didn't understand certain things. He understood that how much he meant to them. They said, "Let not your heart be troubled." Okay, and we have to have our mind the same way. Let not our mind be troubled. All right, even though we're under this oppression, even though we're under these the governing of the wicked world, we have confidence in the Lord. So I wrote down a couple of precepts. The Lord willing, this lesson edifying is Isaiah 33. Isaiah 33:6. And it reads, it says, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. And we're coming to those times where the wisdom, all right, and understanding that we have through these scriptures, through the prophecies, all right, are going to be our anchor. We're going to suffer a lot of things. Okay, some of us are going to get delivered up into these guillotines, into these concentration camps. But we got to hold on our faith, man. We got to let our mind deceive us into thinking that we're going to not be delivered. The Lord made promises and promises to the elect. All right, starting with the disciples. That they're going to suffer things like the servant is not greater than the master. So we have to understand that, and not letting the present situation or what is may come into us in the future rattle or disturb us. Okay, with this truth, we have hope and we have comfort. This is what Yahushua is trying to let them know that, you're going to see a lot of things. All right, you're going to encounter, all right, the blasphemy, the accusations that Yahushua is being brought up upon by the Pharisees, man. All right, how they call him a blasphemer and how they're going to watch him carry that cross to the mount to be crucified. And the appearance of the Lord, I could just imagine what they how they seen him in that condition, man. And it'd probably be enough to shake anybody's faith. Just look at the incident with Peter where he was recognized and said, they would say, your speech bewrayeth you. When he denied the Lord those 3 times, he was in fear. All right, but the Lord said, don't let your heart be troubled. Okay? Don't let our heart be troubled. This is 2 Corinthians 12 and 9. It says, and he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly there will I glory in my infirmities. The power of Mashiach may rest upon me. You know, and that's what the Lord is conveying, you know, to his elect, that, you know, through these times that we're coming in, you know, our flesh is going to get scared. All right, we're going to be apprehensive, you know, through the things that we see, through the things that we encounter. All right, but he said, what? My strength is made perfect in weakness, man. So at the time where we're going to be our weakest, at the time where we think we're going to give up and faint, all right, the Lord's strength, all right, his comfort, all right, is going to be there to lift us up. You know, it's with our wisdom and knowledge, because that's through the faith and the comfort of the scriptures that we might have hope. All right, you go in our word infirmity, the root word is to be weak or distressed. And not only to be deceived or to be diseased, but to be stressed or to be weak. You know, and don't let these things trouble us, man. I said, don't let the incredulity of the faithless, don't let the incredulity of them trouble you. You know, don't let these things that we're going to see. We're going to see a lot of casualties, a lot of betraying, a lot of death and destruction coming, man. All right, but don't let these things trouble our mind or rattle us. All right, he said, continue, all right, enduring to the end. All right, this is something that we have to keep in mind when we're out here going through certain things. The disciples went through it too. All right, and in John, the 14th chapter, is letting you know that the Lord is preparing them for the things that we might, for the things that they're going to encounter. So he said, don't let, let not your heart be troubled, which is your mind. This is Proverbs 18 and 14 said, the spirit of the man will sustain his infirmity, but a wounded spirit who can bear, man. That's why the Lord is trying to explain and tell them, all right? Because, you know, we know that without the Lord, we can't do nothing. You know, but in the 15th chapter, he said, well, I will send you a comforter. Okay? And that's what we have to understand, that we have the strength, we have the spirit of Yahweh from outside to comfort us. All right? Don't let these, what it says here, it says the spirit of a man who will sustain his infirmity. All right? And our mind, all right, is going to feed us. Our spirit, the spirit you're in is going to be enough, man. You know, but when we start to get disenchanted or get disgruntled or get weary, I think that's a good word, get weary in the faith. You know, a lot of people fell out because they didn't want to suffer. A lot of people, the cross is too heavy for them to carry. You know, and they fall out. You know, they're tired of suffering. They're tired of taking L's. But this is the whole thing about following the Lord. All right, and understand that we're going to go through these things. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, man. You know, through much tribulation, we're going to enter into the kingdom. And this is something that we have to understand. You know, but let not your heart be troubled, man. All right. Let's get Isaiah 33. Isaiah 33. I'll already read that. I read it already. Let's get Hebrews to lock it. Hebrews 8, Hebrews 10, and it says Hebrews 10 and 35, it says, start at 34. Let's start, get to the point. Ephesians 10 and 35, it says, cast not away therefore your confidence, which have great recompense of reward. For ye have need of patience, that after ye have done the will of the Most High, ye might receive the promise, man. All right, so it says, cast not away therefore your confidence, your strength, your protection in the Lord. Okay? You know, disciples were very, their hearts were heavy. You know, that the Lord was departing from them, man. You know, and we have a reward for our patience. We have a reward for our tribulations. All right, if you just hold on. You know, disciples held on. He said, well, they loved not their lives until death. And we have to take on that mindset too, by not being troubled that I shall fear what no man should do to me. All right. You know, and whatever brought upon us, we take cheerfully, man, and know that we don't be suffering for the glory that's to come in serving Yahweh Shem Yahushai. You know, it's a very, you know, this is a solemn assembly, man. You know, that the Lord has went away to prepare a place for us, which is the second chapter, the second verse. All right, but we have this hope, you know, that if we just hold on to our integrity, our dignity, and to the truth, you know, like Peter when Yahushua bade him to walk on the water, and the wind blew, and the storm was tumultuous, he began to sink, and the Lord grabbed him. He said, well, why did you doubt? You know, we can't doubt. We have this comfort. We have this these scriptures to tell us, man, that we're going to be redeemed and receive the promise, man. We have a recompense of doing this work. We have a reward coming to us if we just hold on, man. All right, and don't get discouraged. Don't get so down that you think the Lord is not going to forsake us, man. So whoever trusts in the Lord was confounded, man. You know, and we have to hold on to these things. And that John the 14th chapter, man, is really heavy, man. Really, you know, it really took me aback, you know. Revelation 2 and 10, and it reads, it said, I know the works, I started at 11 or 9, it said, I know thy works in tribulation and poverty, thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. You know, and the Lord knows the things that we be going through. All right, we know the things that he went through. All right, so we're going to suffer some like-minded things. All right, it says, fear not of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of, and I'll give you a crown of life, man. All right.